All right, so let's figure out how we can do this in case 6. I'm going to start by copying the address, and a few lines below, what I'm going to do here is going to use http.post, and I'm going to paste here the address. Okay, we also need a body and params. So let's try to figure out how we can do this. Of course, there's always the possibility of defining these variables and writing it like this. But what I actually want to do is to simply write this data in this method call directly. So the way we can do this to still keep things structured is I'm going to move this on a new line. So I'm going to have the address on a new line. And the end of the function call will be on a separate line. So it's going to look like this. And then let's take a look at the body. What do we need inside the body? So as we know, we need to provide JSON here. So I'm going to write JSON.stringify. And inside here, we can define our object, which can look something like this. So that's also a possibility of how we can structure things. Now, as we know, we need to send a username and a password. So we're going to have here username property. So what is the username? Ideally, we should use the exact same username that we have here. Or we can simply hardcode the value that we have in Postman. That's absolutely fine. So that's one username. And just as well, we can write here password. And the password will be test. Okay, so now we have the body. And next, what we need to provide also as an object, so I'm going to add here comma. And this below here will be an object, would be the header. So we can simply copy this object as it is here. This is from the previous request. And let's go ahead and paste it here. Right? So we can directly provide these arguments to the post method call without defining variables which store this information. Okay, so this already looks pretty good. Of course, let's go ahead and run it once just to make sure that indeed it looks good. And if we're taking here a look at what we have in the response, we're going to see that this is the response body. So it says here response. This is the entire response body. Now, what we want to do is use this property called access. So let's define a variable which is called access token. And we need here to store this information in a variable. So we don't have a variable. So I'm just going to use here let res for response. And I'm going to use here res.json. And then we're going to access the property which is called access. Of course, it's always a good idea if you do this step by step and use console log in between. Just going to verify at the end that this is working. If it's not working, we can simply go again step by step and inspect the different values that we have. So let's run it once again. So of course, we're going to get an error here. And it's important to understand exactly what is happening. So in this case, I've simply written here console. And I should have written console.log. So this can happen. Again, errors sometimes are a bit confusing. You see here in the IDE, there's no error or something like that showing up. I'm going to try it once again. And I think this did it because there's nothing else showing up as an error at this point. I'm going to see here under this info. So this is the response. This is the response body. And then this is the value that we have logged. So now we have access to the access token, which then we can use in further requests. So this is how you can solve this assignment.